Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me change this one and put this back up. I hope you guys are having a wonderful, wonderful Saturday morning. Today we're going to be talking about a couple items, and as you can see on the screen here, we have Paula came in to say hi and visit with us a little bit today. So, hi, Paula. How are you? Oh, she was muting herself. Okay.
Good morning.
So I know you've had tons of stuff going on, so thank you for popping in and saying hi. I appreciate you. Um, but how you doing, Eric?
Doing good, and you?
Good. I need new coffee is what I need before my wife leaves. But um, did you guys? And I know Paula, you've been on, but Eric, have you happened to see the thumbnail this morning?
I did. Is that a real thing going to happen?
No.
Hey, flowing trade. Oh,
It is, yeah, it's a flowing trade, rare silver dollar. We're going to be talking about that. I have on the screen the actual flowing hair. Now there is a metal, but I want to show you not only. Oh, you can't hear the panel. Hold on. Speak now. See if you guys can be heard.
All
speak
right.
now or
Good
forever
morning,
hold
everybody.
your peace.
Yeah.
Dollar.
Peas. I like that meme. Have you ever seen that one
Which one?
What meme?
where the kid is holding the bag of peas and tells his dad that speak now or forever hold those peas.
Nice.
Oh my
I've
Anyway.
never seen it.
goodness.
I
God
got
is
you.
great. Good morning. How are you? From the rising sun of Japan. Well, it's probably mid-afternoon there now. Hope you're doing well. But yeah, so I want to talk about that. You see the actual flowing hair on my screen. But we're going to actually talk about this entire user. Now, this information came from Fun with Fakes. Now, Fun with Fakes is Jack Young's site on Facebook. I
C.
told him, say again?
C.
C.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yes.
C. Yes.
Yeah. And I told him, I said, I'm going to do something on this because this was freaking hilarious. Not to be confused with freaking awesome. Good morning, bud. But yeah, starting to look at these. And again, the availability that people have for just common items to replicate, to duplicate, and to try to deceive. So I'm going to show you this one particular seller. We're going to go through and
I'm
look
gonna
at
go
the
grab some
multitude.
coffee. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries. We're going to look through a multitude of coins, and I want to talk about this because there's a number of very interesting coins on here, things that you might be quite surprised about. So let's see. Let's say hi to everybody. So we got Coin Junkie. Good morning, Coin Junkie. Desk Logic is in the house. Siren is here. Good morning, Maud. I appreciate you. You know what I didn't do? I didn't put the links to both streams. Siren, if you have the opportunity, could you throw those links in and I'll pin those? I'd appreciate that. Kid of mine, God is great. Good morning, and again, hope you're doing well over there in Japan. Let's see, freaking awesome. Good morning. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. Steve looking for silver. Way deep inside. Good morning. Rockzilla. Ida. Good morning, Ida. How are you doing? Miss Coin Crew. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Well, Triple Wit is in the house. Thank you all for being here. All right, so I'm going to bring this back up and I'm going to show you the two pieces. Thank you, Siren. Appreciate you. Let's pin that, and that goes to the landscape side and the portrait side. So perfect. What you're seeing here is, I mean, I shouldn't even have to say it. If you look at this for just a moment, you should be able to quickly pick up on that and identify what's wrong with this particular listing. But I'll kind of walk through it just a little bit. Again, the big clue here is it's from China, right? It tells you exactly where it's from. So pay attention to these kind of things. But the name, there is no such thing as a 2024 United States Liberty trade dollar from 2024. Like the last trade dollar outside of a silver round was what? 78.
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, know your years, right? But again, these are very common. These are problems that we had. Hold on. What did it say? Frosty, we had donations for shipping of $1,131. Total shipping. Oh, outstanding. That, you know what's good about that is all the shipping costs were covered.
That's great. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you for letting me know. That is really cool. Yes, Logic says if it's on the internet, it must be true. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people, and I've been watching Jack's comments. I just realized that I'm sharing this only on the other side. Eric, you guys won't see this. I'm
watching it right now.
Oh, you're going to watch it on this. Okay. But again, I want you to, so it's frustrating to me to be able to look at this and number one, go, you can tell it's not the authentic one. You can see the authentic one that's listed here. Obviously, this is the one that I was fortunate enough to get the privy. However, you look at the detail, you can see this is very flat affect. The 2024, they're close, but the scrolling on the two is not quite the right. The denticles are absolutely wrong. They shouldn't be pointy and jagged. They're not evenly spaced. There's just a lot of stuff wrong with this. But again, when you go through this particular user, and there's 86 items on here, every one of them is a fake coin. Every one of them. Some of them are coins that are like they don't even exist. Like let's see, let's pull this. Where is it? Where are you? There we go. How about the 1917 rare Walking Liberty trade dollar?
There you go.
So, folks, when you're doing this kind of stuff, it's very important. Now, I've posted some shorts over the course of the last week or two, and I've got probably 20 to 30 of them in queue. I'm going to release one or two every day. And they're on these. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to actually just be asking a question. What do you see? And I want you to be looking at some of these things. And what it's going to do is I'm going to give you resources today to kind of look at some of these things. These are on eBay, Miss Gwinkler. The problem is that as you look through these, some of them are not bad, but most of them all have that same dull appearance. Many of them are quite horrible. Like this is just gaudy. It's horrible. That the number is not even right. The sun's not even in the right shape. It's missing a ray. This is here again. The date itself is just wrong. But there are so many of these things, and they're getting flooded. And I see more and more people. I see people that comment on the chats. I see people that comment in these various sites. I see the various trolls looking to say, hey, how much is my site worth? I absolutely understand. Oh, she had to go. Okay. I absolutely understand why coin shops and people who deal with this stuff are looking at people constantly sending them information saying, hey, what about the 1909 Walking Liberty? Or, hey, I'm looking for the 1909 trade dollar. Well, what do you mean trade dollar? Well, but see, the problem is that even these come in graded slabs. So we see the graded slabs. Most of them look like they're in NGC holders, but many of them are getting better. Jack Young showed the Morganless Morgan, right? So there's a known Morgan counterfeit. He talked about that on LiveCoin QA. Has talked about it, posted videos of it, and talked about how they're improving their slabs. They're actually getting better. They're looking to make sure the coloration and stuff is right. Eric, how many times in our conversations have we talked about some of the fears about things like laser mapping and some of the stuff they're doing.
And it's coming. I'm telling you,
right?
They're already getting better, and that's because they've graduated from sandcasting a long time ago. They're actually using different methods now. They're using polymers, and silicone, which is a lot more detailed than sand was.
Oh yeah.
The original fakes were sand castings, basically.
Yeah, and you look at some of these, and you can tell. Like, there's one here. I'm trying to remember which one it is. It was a trade. I think it's this one right here. This was done on a CNC machine. And when you look at, and I'll get into some of these, look at how bad the denticles are, right? The lack of detail in the foot. Now, when you look at the high areas, there's more detail than there should be in some areas. Liberty isn't right. Like, the fingers are not right. There's so much wrong with this particular coin. The other thing is this little ring, this little indentation that goes around the entire rim. That's another telltale sign. Obviously, when we look at this, you can tell this isn't the right reverse. But again, the denticles they're bulbous. They're not uniform. And again, you have this little seam that runs across, which is indicative of casting. There's a lot of really bad, like really, really bad pieces when it comes to what's happening. So here's the thing, Dislogic. When you come to this particular page, yes. Okay, yeah, and people go, well, why would you think that you can get one of the rarest, most valuable trade dollars in the 1873 at 99 cents? But it's not the person like us that's coming to this eBay site and buying something from it. It's somebody who comes in, they take this coin, they put it under and whiz it, they polish it up, they clean it up a little bit, they put together Temu and other packages, and they create slabs, and then they take it to unsuspecting mom and pop shops and say, hey, I want to sell these things, or they put them back on eBay and they sell them for $200, $300, $400, $500. They sell them for $19,000 for a $10 coin. So the problem isn't the fact that one of us would do this. The problem is that there are people out there that would buy it that are crooked, and they put these into the hobby. What's important is when we look at these particular accounts, this is where people like Joe Cronin, Jack Riley, Jack Young, and some of these other folks are actually going in, taking information, in some cases buying the coins if they're really, really good counterfeits, buying the coins to get them out of there so that they can study, report on them, do documentation, and then report them accordingly, turn them into, whether it's the National Security Agent, the FBI, whomever it is. I think one of them has, CIA contacts, and one of them used to work for the FBI. I think it was Joe Cronin that used to work for that in that realm, really understands this hobby.
I have heard that the counterfeit stuff on eBay, that eBay is being very, very, they're not getting rid of the listings anymore. Basically.
They've made it more difficult to get rid of them.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a human involved in it. I think it's all AI that's doing it right now.
Well, I think AI is doing the initial review, but when you challenge it, it's not going to be an AI challenge. Somebody has to review that. And I think what Jack's been doing, and because he posts on his Fun with Fakes page,
yeah,
he posts a lot of stuff.
On the page the one time he says, "Man, it's getting really difficult because they're rejecting my it's a fake stuff most of the time now."
Yeah, so he's having to put in, like, this is why it's known. This element's here. This is going on. This is the thing. Here's the requirement. Here's the public law. Like, he does a lot to really safeguard. Jack Riley has been posting a lot of fakes on there as well. And I've told him, it's like, hey, I'm going to take some of this stuff and put it out there. They're like, just let us know when you do it, so that if there are questions, then they can come back and comment on it. But there's there's a real need for you guys to be aware of this stuff. It's getting, some of these fakes are getting really good. Some of them are not. But if you don't know anything about Morgan dollars, you may not see anything wrong with some of these. They look pretty decent. Now, there are obviously things wrong that we see. When you look at this, there are certain elements about the date that are not right. Obviously, this date has serious issues. If we were to look at the reverse, you would see a couple items on there. One item in particular that is very common that they've fixed. Now, number one is the wrong CC, but this person has done away with one of the defining items, which was a gash that happened here in the feathers. So there are other things. There are die cracks around here that you can look at. There are markers within the rim. So as they identify these, and most of these are old, well-known Chinese counterfeits. They're very well documented. They've done tons of articles on these. There's lots of information on these particular sets of coins. But the more that they try to create better and better and better ones, the more our hobby starts to get infiltrated, right? Davidialio, good morning. How you doing? I hope you're doing well. I'm new here. Thank you for coming in. Definitely appreciate you popping in.
Quick AFK, Frosty.
Yeah, no problem. So again, it's just very important that we do this. Now, I have here, and a lot of people don't like, oops, where did it go? Oh, I think I closed it. I'll have to pull that up. I'll share the Fun with Fakes post just to make sure that you guys have that access to it. Please request from Jack Young. And again, if you're going to do that, please, be respectful when you're going in there and stuff. But I wanted to bring this one up because this is 2025. And again, if you look at, oh, my screen's bouncing. Get my camera. I want to try to show this coin, but my camera's freaking out. As soon as my camera stops freaking out, I'll make sure that I post this again. It's a major problem, and there's lots and lots of issues with this. And it's all sorts of coins. Now, if you look at these two coins here, this one would kind of stand out to everybody. But how many of you seen authentic Morgan dollars that look like this? Right? So I want people to be aware. And again, everybody's looking at this. People coming in, seeing this, they're going, well, it's 99 cents. Of course, this is going to be wrong. But if you were to look at these two together, how's that 1881? I mean, you see some if you look at the rim here, you can see some excess metal. You can see how that metal's been folded over there. There's some tooling through here. You can see when you look at it closely, you can identify some stuff. But when you talk about these items, like they're getting better with identifying and removing some of the markers. Now, there's other markers on this particular coin and things that you can look at, but that's the wrong Carson City mint mark. These arrows are not quite right. This is wrong. There's a die crack that is usually on some of the counterfeits. It's not located in this one. At least I don't see it. Yeah, I don't see this one. So again, they're changing. They're getting better. They're altering it. They're upping their game. And we have to be aware of these things. We have to understand what's going on. We have to talk as a community. It's very important that as we go through this, we really it's called deference to expertise, right? Get involved with people who really understand this. Go chat with people like Eric, Paula. Go chat with people like Jack Young, Joe Cronin, Jack Riley, Chuck from Copper Coins, right? Get with those people who have done this that actually look at these coins and can tell you some of the markers, tell you what's going on. If you're going to be purchasing a high dollar coin, please get with somebody first. And there's a lot of channels out there that give, they're a lot of fun. There are a lot of, you can get in there, you can have a great time, maybe buy something, do something, but much of the information that they give you is incorrect. And you got to be very careful. So make sure you surround yourself with people who really understand. And if you're going to make a high dollar price purchase, please make sure you're getting experts and buying it from a reputable source. Okay. It's never a problem, folks, never a problem to have your friends that work at coin shops prove to you that a silver coin is silver. Prove to you that a gold coin is gold. Prove to you that a gold or silver bar is gold or silver. It's about making sure you protect you and you protect your investment. There are fakes out there. There are counterfeits out there. I'm sure there's even ones of the trade dollar. I'm trying to get this video to shows me up. Only Tuli calls me Davi. Well, I won't call you Davi unless you ask or you tell me that it's okay. It's a problem. And I want you guys to really look at some of these coins. And again, there are 86 or 89 listings from this particular person. And I mean, look, that's number one, that's horrible. But if somebody was trying to sell something to you in AU, I don't know. I haven't bought them, so I can't tell you. Some do, some don't, right? Because
they're claiming they're silver. So
say again.
They're claiming they're silver. I just went and looked at theirs, and he's not the only guy. There's at least 25 people with Chinese names, not to be prejudiced or anything, selling these same coins.
Yeah, Silver Wolverine, you're exactly right. But again, what I'm trying to explain to people, Silver Wolverine, most people in here that are watching would never go to eBay to buy. Yeah. Well, here's the thing. He's got 5 feedback, 100%. Does that by itself mean anything? No. It could be a new seller. Now, it does say China. Huge flag. Silver Wolverines is exactly right? That was the very first thing when I pulled this up that I talked about. You won't be able to tell whether it reacts to a magnet until you get it here. I've got a wonderful, wonderful counterfeit. It looks absolutely amazing. And the normal die markers are not on the coin. I sent Jack Young 3 of the coins. I kept one of them for myself. And it was because this card this coin doesn't stick to a metal. It weighs properly. It's the proper thickness, it's the proper diameter, but the thickness is off. It's just a little bit thicker than it should be. But it's otherwise perfect. Now, if you use a magnet, it will still work. It'll slide down the magnets test. It'll slide down very slowly because both copper and silver are diamagnetic. It has a pretty hefty coating of silver. So when you test it on a Sigma, it leans to the right side, but it's within the good tolerance. The problem is that there's 2 tests that it fails. It fails a specific gravity test, and it fails the thickness test. But it passes the other ones. The coin is phenomenal. I didn't bring it out. I wish I would have brought it out. But you can't tell. I've got, for those of you that are stackers out there, I've got a really, really nice proof silver stacker that is 100%. I mean, you even hint of a magnet, that thing flies across the room. It is pure metal. But if you were looking at it, you would never know it. Now, seeing coins like this, the one that's on the screen here, the trade dollar, again, I'm not saying that any one of you would come over here spending 99 cents on this. I think that it would make sense that none of us would go there to buy these things. However, there's a lot of people in the hobby that tout, and Eric, you probably see this a lot. Well, common sense says if the coin's all scratched, it can't be MS68. Well, whose common sense is that?
Right.
If you don't know about grading, whose common sense is that? Common sense is only common if everybody has it. And not everybody knows it. Not everybody understands the nuances of coin collecting. And those of us that have done it a while take for granted some of this stuff. Okay? Now, what I'm warning people about here is not the coins themselves. Don't get hung up on the fact that these are 99 cents on eBay. I want you to get hung up on the fact that there's tons and tons and tons of them out there. We've had members of our community. Just stack it. Holy hell. How you doing, bud? Good to see you. That is a name I haven't seen for quite a while. It's great to see you, bud. You guys might know him. He went under another name for quite a while. It's good to see you back, man. That is awesome. Just stack it. Yeah, it's good to see you. Good to see you. I bet only about 5% of the people in chat would actually know who you were. Which that needs to change. Hopefully you're coming back and doing some more. But a blast from the past. That's awesome. I'm glad to see you, bud. What I want you guys to be aware of is that these things are out here. And they're out here in force. And they're not trying to come across as high dollar, high grade. And I mean, you know, again, we made the comment, and it's a common thing in China, which was the only thing that is not fake in China is your mom. Now, that's not my statement. That is something that's actually stated. No, it's actually a statement in China. Do you guys know that there's an entire mall? What are some of the seller sold listings? Oh, let's go pull it up. That's a great question.
All of them are from or they say verified buyers, but they don't show any links. So they're all bot people. They've sold 141 items, got 14 feedbacks, and there's only one that's from an actual eBay user. All the rest are private.
Where's the... There we go. Oh, I have to go back in. I'm not going to do that. So, let me close that. I won't do it that way. Yeah, so I'll have to go back through and do that. I always look at the bids, and I try to see if it's always the same person. And I'll look at the bids across multiple ones to identify if it's always the same person. In many cases, you'll see it's the same person, especially when you're looking at these high-end sold listings from the same people. They're always selling coins at $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $10,000, and they're second-rate coins or complete counterfeit coins or altered dates, whatever it is. I will always look at the number of bids and see if it's the same general people. Normally, what you'll find is it's the same general people across every one of these, which means that it's basically just a shill, right? It's somebody going in and bidding up or selling it, and then it might even be the same person, so they pay it, and then obviously it goes back to that same user because they're all part of the same issue. I'll see if I can find some more. I didn't prepare for that today, so I'd have to log in and get all my stuff taken care of to see that, and I don't want to do that while everybody's on and share all my information. But it's a real problem. There's a lot of stuff. And again, it's not just U.S. coinage, right? There are tons of coins from around the world that are there. There are, it's horrible. And again, all of these are sold listings. And, you know, you can see 3 bids, 5 bids, Eric, if you want to pull, do you want me to send you the listing for this, or you've already pulled this person up?
Yeah, I pulled it up and looked at it. I got it. I closed it already.
Yeah, no worries. But again, the reason, and again, I'm not trying to say that anybody here would be spending $6 on a $500 coin. Okay, what I am saying is that there are enough people out there that don't know enough about coins that would get caught in this. And what I want you to be aware of, what I want you to pay attention to, is the person to the left and the person to the right with you. Do you want me to pull up some fake slabs? I'll absolutely do that. Let's do, what are some fake slabs? Let's do the 1881 CC Morgan.
Hey, Frosty, while
Yeah.
you're doing that, Ida had asked what the most counterfeited U.S. and world coin is, and it's a Morgan dollar. Different dates. They don't actually.
Actually, so the number one most counterfeit, it's a gold coin.
1897 Russian 15 ruble.
Yeah, well, so that's WorldCoin, and they do that. So there's a really fabulous story about that particular coin. Fabulous story. They actually used to use gold Indians, actual gold coins, and they would heat them up until the metal became soft, and then they would stamp directly over the Indian. And then what that would do is when people would test it, it would test pure gold. However, the numismatic value of the Russian coin is so much greater that the $200 or the $150 back in that day that they would use to buy the coin well made up for in the numismatic price from them selling it. So they would actually sell gold. It would be the proper weight. It would be the proper size. They would just heat that metal up and then restamp it. I did a video on that very coin because the story behind it is amazing.
And another interesting fact, U.S. coins aren't even in the top 25 most counterfeited coins. There's not one.
For world coins, no, but NGC does have a listing.
Right, of U.S. coins.
Yep.
And that's why I say they just break it down into Morgan dollars by far as the most counterfeited coin.
And if you want to look at that, you can come here. NGC has a really good site where they talk about the various counterfeit coins, what they are, and some of the markers. Now, I'll be very clear with you. There's a major problem with this particular site. It doesn't give you enough pickup points to truly identify.
It doesn't. It's just for what are these? It's a statistical site.
So if you're going to be looking at these things, you want to make sure that you do this. The number one most counterfeit U.S. coin is the 1909 SVDB, but
that's weird.
If you notice, it's the high dollar numismatic coins.
Right.
These are going to be your most high. Now, some of these are very, very good, and most of them are not. But there are some 1909 SVDBs that are extremely good counterfeits. But if you look at this particular list, you're going to see they're all key dates until you get down into the teens. And when you get down into the teens, you notice something. They become gold. Not only because the gold is more valuable, and they're made of tungsten, and they're made of copper alloy, and some of these even test right. Some of them have copper cores or whatnot, and then they have 20% gold. Some of them have very thin gold layers. Some of them have very thick layers.
The big thing in the old counterfeits was you would buy a Morgan dollar counterfeit and it would be 80% silver. They weren't trying to really screw you. I hate to use that term.
No, that's a good term.
But they wanted their 10%. And they would test on the old fashioned testers. They would, you could scrape them or whatever you did, and they would test okay. But then they weren't okay. You could actually see the different people with a good eye could see in detail that they were fake. But a lot of the old fakes, like pre 2000, even into the early 2000s, like the gold, it would be 75%. They would actually use gold in their counterfeits.
That's correct.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, one thing that's really important when we're looking at these types of things now, when you look at the Morgan dollar, obviously the 1893S is a big ticket item. It's definitely one of those. But Paula said exactly what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
There are fake coins where the entire coin is a fake. There are altered coins, which are like this one. It had the added mint mark, right? So, and it'll tell you what they are. But I want to go back to a question. So Ida says, if you don't know that the key markers, it'd be easy to give fake gold. Yes.
Absolutely.
And if you ask the stacking community, almost everybody in the stacking community can either tell you of a video that they've recently, and I mean recently within the last 30 days, have seen. I know Surfer just talked about one. I know Seeker just talked about one. And I know that Silver Dragons just talked about a whole bunch that came in. Yeah, it's quite easy because sometimes they use gold because you can take maybe half of that gold content, mix it with another alloy, and if it's done properly, it might even test right. So that's why you can't use a single test when you're looking at numismatics or stacking. You have to make sure you do multiple tests to spread out the information that you have. You want to make sure that you're doing multiple tests. A ping test is great, but you have to weigh it. Check the diameter, check the thickness.
Right.
There are a lot of coins. There's a lot of gold out there that tests correct, but is not real. And they're the ones that have like the tungsten core. There's a lot of coins that are out there that they talk about this. We've seen these, and they counterfeit freaking everything. And I always go back to Eric's favorite trivia question.
Yep, that's right.
The number one most counterfeit thing is a freaking flip-flop, a chunkla.
Can I just deviate on Paula's comment, the difference between counterfeit and altered? You can have an altered coin that is a real coin. When you get into the South American reals, they used to take coins from other countries and just strike their coins on top of them. That would technically be an altered coin, but yet it's a real coin too.
Yeah, and matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, we were in a live chat with Chuck. And
that's right.
We were going through, what the hell coin was that?
It was I want to say it was from Brazil.
And they were looking at it, and somebody said, that looks like a strike through.
Yeah, and it was a Spanish real underneath it.
Yeah, and he's like, oh, I know that pattern. And he pulled it up and built an overlay live and went, oh my God. This is a strike over. So this is a counterfeit coin. This is what, yeah. And it was like, holy smokes.
Well, it's not a counterfeit coin. It was a real coin.
They just took somebody else's and then.
That's how the mints in South America, they were, their society at the time was a little more primitive. They didn't have the facilities to be making planchets. So they would just take coins from around the world and just put their design on them.
Yeah, it's unreal. But the purpose here is that, again, you see these coins, and whenever you look at it, and I've talked, you guys know I do a lot with Tiger Stacker, and him and I do Stack Elector, and we're going to be talking about numismatics here in the next week on our next Stack Elector, which is coming up April 3rd. Or April 10th is when mine is going to be, and I'm going to be talking about numismatics. But it's important to understand when you're looking at these things, in many cases, they actually use gold.
I saw that, Paula.
Right? Yeah. So that's a really. Let me see if I can pull that up. Hold on just a sec. Let me get this over here, and let me see if I can actually get there.
And it was kind of easy to spot.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to show you something else. This is something that I found in a group, and it makes me laugh. But this is a really good group to identify counterfeits. And it's a group called How Much Is My Coin Currently Worth?
Oh, that has to be a pleasure to be in.
And what's funny about it is, and I'm going to try and see, I got to check one thing real fast. What's funny about this is that I can't pull this up. It's gonna show all my personal information, so I can't do that. When I pull it up, what it does is they'll actually show you a counterfeit coin and say, how much is this coin worth? And it's like they do two things. Number one, they take the information that you give them and they improve on their design. It's free feedback for their counterfeiting. So be very careful with those. To point out that, and again, this is something that when Paula was interviewing Jack Young, that question came out, and it's like, we're basically telling them how to get better. So we have to be better. We have to be able to identify some of the stuff, be able to identify some of the markers. But the most important thing that we can do is to make sure that we're sharing that out. See Happy Chappy just gifted 5 memberships. THS, Roxzilla, Azure Blue, Crafty Dragon, and Brenda Shank. See Happy Chappy, thanks so much, brother. I definitely appreciate that.
The number one thing is, if it's too good to be true, it's too good to be true. I mean, the chances of you finding a valuable coin for $5 is, well, it's not impossible. It's very improbable.
Yeah, so, and again, when we look at these things, when we check out some of these coins, when we look at this particular set of coins, when we look at this this group, and oops, hold on. I didn't want to do that. When we look at these various coins, when we come in here and look at the 1881, so let's see, let's find, somebody was looking for a slabbed fake coin. And what I'm looking for is, I'm trying to see if I can find a Morgan. Actually, you know what? I have a better source for that. But I want to find one on here so you can see a very clear. These are the other ones. No, that's okay. Trying to remember the number. The numbers, I need to remember what the numbers are. Let me come over here to Jackson. I'll pull one up real quick. I know where you can find a Morgan. Yeah, I'll pull that up just a sec. Oops. I'm going to pull this up. Give me just a second while I navigate to this. Come on, where is he? Here we go. All right, so let me mute this. Here. Okay, so this is from LiveCoin Q&A. Let me know, you guys should be able to see that. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Now this is full screen. There we go. Okay, so this is the video that was done with Paula and Jack Young. And hopefully you can see that. I know it's kind of small on the other ones, but the information here is going to be very important. Paula, if you'll do me a favor, if you will put in chat the link to this while I show this. There are some things that are here that you definitely want to look out for. And he's circled these. Now, if you look at the number, you'll see the numbers are the same. This is the authentic coin. This is the counterfeit. And when I was scrolling through those, I was looking at this number because this block, even if this number is different, this block tends to almost always be the same. No problem. I'll do it. It's all good. I got it right here. So it is there. Dunk, dunk. Okay, and boom. There's the video. You guys can go check that out right there. That is. See you later, Ida. Have a good one. Thanks for coming up. Yeah, no worries. I know your tablet. It's okay. Not a big deal. But there are things, and you can see he's talking about this. I'm going to pause this because I don't want it to move on. But the PCGS doesn't list the word Morgan, right? That's kind of one of the big ones. That's why they call this the Morgan. Now, there's a non-Morgan, which is on the second one, which they've taken this information that Jack has done, and they've improved on their design. The PCGS logo shows up on the fakes. Morgan doesn't appear anymore. And there are a number of things that happen. And again, if we go back through and we go to the second one, let me go back over here. And we come here and we go back to this. Where's the non-Morgan? They may not show the image in this one. I think this one is on his site, but they actually go through quite a number of pieces of information and talk about the general breakdown of what's happening in the coins that they've tried to improve. We did not show a non, yeah, so we'll have to go back to this one to kind of just maintain this one. We'll just pause that there and leave that there. Again, they show all sorts of different information on this particular one. And again, you see the number 46452 or 57238. That's a very common number. And when you look at these, again, you're going to see there's no PCGS thing down here. The date's wrong. You're going to see that block. Now, this block, if you look at the block in this particular one, is a little bit different. But you can still see it does say Morgan. You can still see the coloration on this is wrong. So yeah, there's lots of slabs. There are gold coins in slabs that for a very long time actually defied the, or I shouldn't say defied. What's the word I'm looking for, Eric? Fooled, I mean, is the easiest word. Deceived. That's the word. Deceived. The grading companies. There were actually, and I think that Jack Young, not too long ago, reached out, and I'll see if I can find that. I'll share that information. Sorcerer Stan, good morning. Actually shared information where he had to reach out to one of the professional grading companies and tell them, you guys have something that is a known counterfeit. It's a high grade one, but you have it on your site. And it's listed, it's live, it's actually a counterfeit coin. And so Jack Young, Jack Riley, Joe Cronin, there's lots of other names. I mean, but I can't even begin to give you all the names of people that do this. There are the folks from the Coin Show podcast who are there in Baltimore right now who bring out great information. I think they're probably getting ready to do another live. They've been doing a number of these. The last video we did featured that coin. Yeah, and again, there's some great information. Anything that has Jack Riley's name on it, if you're looking at counterfeits, is something you need to go look at. And Paula has really connected him to my group, which I appreciate her for doing that because she connected me to his Fun with Fakes. I take some of that information. Hey, do you mind if I post this? Do you mind if I share it? He's like, no, please, get it out there. And this is why I wanted to talk to you guys again today. I want you guys to be able to understand and identify you may not be the one that falls for this, but you may know somebody who might. You may not be the person who goes to eBay to buy it, but they're not just on eBay. You're going to see these on Whatnot, which is crazy because they go so fast. You can overpay really quick and get something. They show, I've got 10 of these and they show you one coin and you may not get the coin that they're showing, right? But when you're looking at eBay, when you're looking at these kind of things, you're looking, I wish I could find a Morgan. What was the, What was the one? Hold on just a sec. Got too many windows open. This is the 1883. Well, let me see if I can change this and do 1883. See if I can find an 1883 counterfeit Morgan on eBay. And let's do, let's be a little bit more specific. This is going to be MS64. So let's make sure that we kind of narrow it down to some of the known ones. Okay. So let's kind of scroll through here and see if we can just happen to stumble across one. Oh, and watch the old ones. These are counterfeit quite frequently too. So let's look and see if we can find something just by scrolling through here. I don't see, I'm looking at the numbers as well as some of the colors are off. Like that one doesn't look right. That label doesn't look right. I don't see any Morgans. They pop up, but they're getting better. And so, yeah, you can find slabs. There's also fake GSA holders. That is, let me pull this up. I'm gonna actually open a new window. Let me get this over here, and I'm going to show you something else. This blew my mind. Have you ever seen these, Eric? The fake GSA holders?
I have not.
So this is something that came in. Fake GSA holder for.
Yeah, I was just sitting here reading an article, post from Dan Carr about the micro O Morgan dollars. Sorry, I was daydreaming.
No, you're all good.
We're talking about counterfeits. They actually think they're counterfeits.
Yeah, so here is, thanks, Davilo, I appreciate it. Here is a great one. When I first saw this, I was like, holy smokes. Because you think of, and they have these that are graded. They're fakes too. Hey, James, good to see you, bud. This blew my mind. Like, and they counterfeit everything, right? Hashtag suck it. What's up, Gold Sniping Farmer? How you doing, brother? Good to see you. But yeah, so again, folks, whenever you're buying anything that's high dollar, anything that has significant value, do your research. Take time. And if you get somebody that is, they're quick to say, well, you're running out of time. This is I've got to get, you got to make a decision now. And if they pressure you, be willing to walk away. You might miss out on a good deal, but you're far more likely to protect yourself from a bad deal. Don't be so invested in your purchase that you overlook glaring facts standing in front of you. If you're at a coin shop and you want to test the silver or gold coin that they're selling you and they say no, leave. Leave.
And by all means, never fall for my local coin shop says it's legit.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because if it was legit, they would have bought it already.
Well, yeah, especially if it's a $17,000 coin. Now, yesterday I was perusing Facebook and I ran across something, and it was a very interesting post. It was in a legitimate group, and the coin was a $20,000 coin. When you pull up that particular coin on the website for PCGS, it was that image. Okay, well, anybody can copy an image. Not a big deal, right? Yeah, so they were like, oh, can you take a picture of the reverse? And you know what he did? He took a picture of it with him holding it in his hand. And I'm like, oh, yeah, he's got it. Like it's his. And again, you look at it and you see the coin. There's one little mark on the coin. It's there. You see it on the site. Like it's that coin. And it's like, he's like, I'm not selling it. I'm just showing it off. And it's kind of funny because you'll get trolls out there that actually have really good stuff. And they're troll posts. I'm sure, Eric, you've seen those.
Oh, yeah.
Quite a bit. Somebody trying to do a coin muscle flex.
That's
right?
a famous one, Coin Crew, or Mrs. Coin Crew.
Say again?
It was in Grandpa's stack for 100 years. They won't use the word stack, but they'll say it was in his top dresser drawer.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I found this from an estate sale.
But you know what? I found some cool stuff at an estate sale. I bought 5 really cool rolls of coins at an estate sale.
But and again, folks, there's a lot of people who I go back to Coach's Magic, right? Where he came in, we were looking at a coin, and it's like, oh man, it's very unlikely that that's authentic. And we started digging into it, and it's like, oh my God. Like, we verified that it was authentic live. People can stumble across or be given very cool, very unique coins. But when they say, hey, I've got this rare 1958 double die, and I've got 7 of them.
Right. Yeah.
It's like, no, you don't. But I wanted to show you some counterfeits. When Jack Riley posted that, or excuse me, Jack Young posted that on his page, I told him I was going to either do a video or talk about it live, and he's like, do it. Like, he sent me the little heart, said good to go. But I want people just to be aware that there are entire sites out there of people trying to steal your information, trying to steal your money. So you really have to protect yourself. And again, folks, I'm not insinuating at all that any of you would run out to eBay and buy a 99-cent 1973 trade dollar that should be, $500. But I think it's important that we share information. If you see something and it doesn't look right, trust your mind's eye.
That's right. First impression is usually the correct impression.
If you see something that doesn't look right, now I have done this actually. I did it to Stacking Sailor. No, it wasn't Sailor. It was actually Sailor Stacker. And I reached out to him and I said, hey, that slab that you put up, can you pull that up again? I have my questions about it. And he was like, sure. So pulled it up and I'm like, I don't think that's authentic. It's got the wrong label for the wrong style holder. And he reached out to me and he said, hey, I took it back to the coin shop and you're right. It wasn't real. And he was like, I appreciate you doing this. I picked this up from somebody else. But I've also said, hey, can you show me that? And I'm like, I don't know about it. They verify it. It ends up being authentic. Outstanding. You verified it. But again, if it doesn't look right, now you've got to be very careful. I will never tell anybody they have a fake coin until I have gotten second or third opinions. Because I am not quite where I want to be, and I'm nowhere near where I should be to be able to tell people, yes, that's good, no, that's not. I will always defer to expertise. And this is why I want to share stuff with you. If you were trying to make an expensive purchase, you were trying to go perfect. Trust but verify, right? That's exactly right. But what I want to do is I want to be a good resource for you. I may not, and mostly do not, have the answer. But I know people who do, and I know people who can get it for you. And so I want to make sure that I share these kind of things with you. Some of them funny, some of them not so much. But they're getting better. They're identifying certain elements and they're taking them out. So we have to be on our game. It's no different than cybersecurity when it comes to your computer, right? You should always be doing your updates. You should always be making sure you check your software, always download stuff from reputable sources. Again, your information and your money are important.
And here's a good tip. I don't know how many of you do that. If you do electronic banking, you should be logging into your bank pretty much every day to check.
Yeah.
I do. It's out of habit. I get up, get a cup of coffee. If I have bills to pay, I pay my bills, but I log on to that at least once a day to check, because you don't want to wait 2 weeks to find out that somebody's nailing your account.
You know what else I do? And you guys don't have to do this. We're going to get into money matters. I'm not a financial expert.
Me neither.
I've stayed at a Quality Inn once. Actually, I think it's a Holiday Inn Express. Speaking of coffee, be right back. Yeah, I'm over here suffering. I ran out 40 minutes ago.
I need some too. I'm like,
I always look at all of my purchases under $3. And I look and see if it happens the same time every month. I'll go back and look at my subscriptions. I look at various subscriptions periodically, because I have found being billed for stuff that I have had no idea where it went to.
it happened to me and my wife where there was, and the bank called us. The bank says, there's 9 of these charges for like 51 cents and 48 cents. And he says, and the bank said, believe it or not, people actually do charge that much sometimes. So we're calling you because it's just not in your pattern. We were, the computer obviously said, hey, this is not normal for them or something. And I didn't make it. And it turned out it wasn't Temu. What was the one that was all hot before Temu? My wife had bought
Alibaba.
It was after Alibaba. It was, I don't know what, it was one of those Chinese sites though, but that it was that person, and they got her debit card and they started charging this 50 cents. And the bank said, if it's under $1, it's not even criminal. So they keep doing it. And if you don't say anything within like 10 or 15 days, they get the money.
Yeah. So it's very important that you guys, and again, I am not financial, I'm not a financial expert, but I can tell you I've had my identity stolen 3 times. One time when I was in the Navy. That one was the one that was the biggest suck of them all because I was deployed. Now, I could prove that at the time that my identity was stolen, I was cutting holes in the ocean out near the Red Sea. So I could easily prove that. We didn't have the cell phones. We couldn't do that kind of stuff. And whenever we went into theater, our phones, all that stuff were taken away from us. We were in the theater. We were out there. We had to make sure we reduced our signature, stuff like that, right? So we didn't have, Coins and Ghoul says Etsy.
No, it wasn't Etsy or anything like. Let me go ask my wife. She was the one that bought off of it.
Hey, Coins and Ghouls, good morning, by the way. So when you look at this, I was deployed. And when I came back, my commander called me in and said, hey, you haven't paid your car payment for 5 months. Like, you didn't pay it did you buy a car right before we left? And I'm like, we've been gone. I've been gone 7.5 months. I don't have a car. We've been deployed. I've been on 3 ships back to back. I have no need for a car. The car that I own is back home with my mom and my sister. And he's like, well, you have a $30,000 or $35,000 car that you've not paid for. And I'm like, it's not mine. I don't have it. And they could go back through and they looked at my information, looked at my signature, and identified that, you know what? It wasn't me. But it took me forever to get that cleared off. The second time it happened was because somebody at a drive-in restaurant actually took my card, made a copy of it, and I started getting purchases, but they caught them very quickly. They knew it was a ring. They had been watching this place for quite some time. They let me know. And then the last one, I was getting gas at a gas station, And they called me as soon as I swiped my card and said, "Oh, you're not in Italy." I'm like, "No, I'm in Texas." And they're like, "Oh, well, somebody just made 2 huge purchases in Italy. It obviously can't be you because you're not there."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "No, I'm at a gas station. I just left a playland with my daughter." And they were able to shut it down. And ever since then, I quite frequently go back and look to see if something is done. If I go to a shop, and I'm not talking necessarily coin shop, or if I'm going to be buying silver or gold, I will monitor my account for 30 to 60 days just to make sure there's nothing new that shouldn't be there.
And you should have a wallet that where somebody walks by, they can't scan your cards.
I have that too. It's the RFID wallet. Yep. Now, I was at Chicago. Speaking of that, a really fun story. Have you ever been to a TED Talk?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not sure what it is.
You don't know what a TED Talk is? Holy cow.
No.
So you're going to find your new level of information. Like TED Talks are amazing. So I was in Atlanta. Atlanta or Chicago. I think I was in Atlanta. We were doing a conference and I had the opportunity to attend 2 TED Talks. And one of the TED Talks was a guy who was a known hacker. And he was doing some training and teaching and talking to people about what was going on. And you can actually find this. It's posted live. He did 2 sessions of it. I think they have both sessions up there. So you might see me there. I can't remember if they posted the early morning session or the afternoon session. I'll double check it and I'll post it and have that there. He brought us on stage and walked behind us, and he had a little small iPad. And he walked behind us, and on the screen, our information was showing up. Now, I had just purchased not too long ago an RFID, and he stood behind me for a minute and talked to me. And then he walked away, and he says, "Will you come stand over here?" It's like, "Yes." And he goes, "Can I see your wallet?" And I was like, "No." He's like, "No, I want everybody to show your wallet." And I had one of these little orange cases. It was not good looking. It's not like the new ones that they have now.
Hell, the new ones look just like regular old leather wallets.
Yeah, they're beautiful. And this one was not. It was kind of a metal thing. It was really clunky. And so I pulled it out, and he's like, "I have these for everybody at the end of the show." And what he was doing is he was showing information. Now, he had somebody that was on his team that was doing stuff, and they were blotting out pieces of information as it was coming up on screen. Like, they would show the card, but they would not show the card number. They would show what room they were in and the movies that they had purchased and the food that they had ordered, because they were getting all their information from the hotel. Like, because everything was done through that card. And when they were scanning the cards, they were looking to find out which one. They tied it into the system, and they were pulling out tons of information.
Right.
Now, there was one lady who was very, very, very embarrassed because of some of the stuff that she had been watching while she was there at the hotel. And they pulled some of that stuff off and they shut it down. And they were like, "Well, we're not going to go into some of this." But the guy says, "Hey, do you want free movies? I see you like to watch them." And he hit a couple of buttons. He said, "Now you have free movies while you're here at the hotel. It's on me. It's taken care of." And he was doing all of this stuff, and it really made me understand that there are some smart people out there who are very, very, very wise in how to get your money and how to deceive you into getting information. And from that point on, I've paid way more attention to my finances, paid way more attention to where I use my cards, paid way more attention to the coins, the gold, the silver, all that stuff, because there are people out there that just want to steal from you. And it's very important that we share this information, because I want you guys to, I'm going to see if I can't find that TED Talk and post it.
Now, on those wallets, Frosty, if you have a cloth one or a leather one and you wash it, you need to go buy a new one. Just so you know. It doesn't ruin it, but it definitely, from what I understand from a police officer friend of mine, the integrity goes down. So if you wash it a couple times, they're not, some people have wallets for 15 years. Get a new wallet if you want to protect your data because they do deteriorate. So I don't know about the metal ones, the little.
Okay. So this is the afternoon session. I have it right here. Hold on a sec.
On eBay, so you know.
Sorry about that. This is the afternoon session. And it's been a while. I'm posting this in chat right now. This is the TED Talk, and I want you guys to watch this. I want you guys to pay attention to what's happening here. And Eric, if you've never seen TED Talks, go check out TED Talks.
I actually have. I didn't know what they were, though. I never heard them called that. They were just called symposiums when I went. Yeah,
TED Talks, TEDx, phenomenal. And this is done, I mean, God, this has been...
What does the acronym stand for? Technical education data, something like that.
I don't remember what TED stands for. Yeah. But they have all sorts. They have TED experiences where they can actually send these people into your facility, have small group discussions. We had years ago when I was working with the Air Force, we had one come in and talk to us about what they call a TED-like experience. And what it was is they actually brought people into the small group and we discussed a very, very deep conversation about security and things of that nature. This person was prior military intelligence officer and was working with CIA and all sorts of stuff. And they brought them in and really broke down a lot of really cool information. I've been fascinated with TED Talks. We have a group of physicians that do TED style based stuff at the Pearl Brewery in San Antonio. They do it 2 or 3 times a year where they do neuroscience conferences and they get people and they bring people in and talk about those kind of things.
Original TED Talk be Dale Carnegie. You know who Dale Carnegie is?
No, name doesn't ring a bell.
He used to do, you would go to a symposium and he would talk about positive thinking and how to make your attitude better at work and dealing with all sorts of negativities and stuff like that.
I got you.
In most companies, I had to do it working in Ford. They made me go. They wanted everybody to go to Dale Carnegie. No, that was Dale Carnegie was speed reading. Who was I can't remember. There was a guy, positive thinking guy.
So we always did Stephen Covey. Stephen Covey was always the one. I lived in and around Utah. He was based out of Salt Lake City, Utah.
Dale Carnegie, author of the original TED Talk. Damn.
Yeah. UCI $2 super chat. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. What is that guy's name? Tony Robbins?
No,
yeah.
Positive thinking guy.
Tony Robbins is one that I've heard a lot of. And then there's the other guy. He does the same stuff, but he's kind of more about the Wayne Dyer. Wayne Dyer is the other one that talks about positive thinking and strategy and being one with yourself. Lots of crazy stuff. Reminds me of boot camp in Lackland. Yeah, again, lots of cool stuff. But I just wanted to bring this to you. And when I saw this particular set of coins, and I started looking at this particular seller and realizing just how many of these coins were there, I felt like I needed to kind of break this out, especially this one. And again, you guys know, and my camera, it's mad at me. You guys know I have. Will you stop bouncing for hell's sakes? There we go.
Let's Carnegie, so you know.
Say again.
It was Dale Carnegie.
Okay. So you guys have seen this coin right here, this metal right here, right? I was very fortunate to get that. Yeah, Paula, Jack is the one who shared the listing with me. He's the one that gave me all that information. He's monitoring that person. He's paying close attention to it. But the reason that I did this particular one is because this is the 2024, and this was the makeup of the fake one that you see listed here, right? You see that 2025. And that's why I was like, man, I got to bring out my privy coin and show people that it's familiarity. They are not worried about the coin as much as they're worried about familiarity. And somebody who wanted to get the privy coin that couldn't do it, and now they come across and they can find something for way cheap, somebody might think they're getting a really good deal. And so it behooves us to share this information with people and to make sure you have this knowledge. Make sure that you know these fakes are out there. Make sure you understand, one, either how to identify them, or two, who to get in touch with to be able to help you do that. That's really important. 2009, fine for me, 1DO02. Nice. When you sending it to me, do you want me to give you my address? Just kidding, Coin Junkie. I wish I'd have been watching your stream when you found it.
Yeah,
I always like watching your streams. I need to get in. I haven't watched one for a while.
He hasn't done any, I don't think.
No? I have not been watching. I've been so busy with stuff. I haven't been in a lot of streams. I need to get in a few more.
I lurk in a lot of streams.
But again, folks, I don't think you guys are going to be the ones to go spend 99 cents on a flowing hair. But just be aware that they're out there. Know how to protect yourself. And
Yeah,
I've got... Say again?
When I saw that photo, I was like, oh my God, the Mint isn't, are they? Well, you know, after the Morgan and Peace dollars, I was like, well, why not?
Yeah, well, see, but here's the thing. People pry on this stuff.
Yeah.
Right? It's like the 2025 ASC that was out even before they started running them. Right? You don't think China knows the Mint schedule? You don't think that they're ahead of the game? They have coins ready to distribute as soon as they're dropped.
So what you're saying is there's a chance then.
Yeah, exactly. So the thing is to just monitor these things. Pay attention to it. If you look at the coin, you can clearly see that this one here does not have the quality or the depth of the metal that was there. It's just not there. It's not the same. The fields on the actual one are so beautiful and clean. The flowing hair metal is absolutely a phenomenal piece. This one it looks second rate. It doesn't look like the old one, but you know, hey, they're out there. So again, I wanted to make sure I brought this stuff to you and shared this information with you. Before we only have about 10 minutes left before I kick everybody to the curb and go pick up my daughter. What would you guys like to see? I have an open session tomorrow. I haven't actually planned anything yet. But if you want to talk about something specific, I want you guys to do me a favor. Enter in chat. Put something in chat and let me know some of the stuff that you want to go through. What is that, Eric?
Well, remember we were saying it's from my grandpa's top dresser drawer? How that doesn't happen? It actually does. And this is an item that I got from somebody's grandpa's top dresser drawer. I got a bank wrap, a Batdorf roll of 43p cents, a roll of 43p dimes, or 46p dimes, 46p nickels, and 44p Lincoln cents. I should have bought the other two rolls of nickels. He had two rolls of silver war nickels, and I didn't get them. I should have. And that was just some random estate sale that I was going by, and I'm like, hey, you got any coins? It was literally just one of these things. I was like, maybe I'll stop here. And they were like, yeah. And I was like that, and they said, yeah, $75 sound good? And I was like, okay. And that was with a backdoor roll of 43p cents. And that's $75 right there. So
Coins and ghouls. Chuck asked me to come on sometime and discuss bulk grading. That would be an amazing
great,
topic. Yeah.
Yeah. You're pretty good at it. So.
Yeah. I've got, I'm waiting for Blue Ridge to get back with me and schedule a time. He's going to come up and talk. I want to talk grading, so you're more than welcome to join me. I've already sent that up. He's just looking at a schedule, trying to get back with me when he can do that. I've also got two other people. Aaron Burke said that he's willing to come up. We're just coordinating the schedule. We're going to be talking ancients, so that's coming up soon. Both Mike and him said that they're willing to come up and do basically the Frostbyte version of Ancient Coin Show podcast. And so come up and talk about it. Again, I told you guys I wanted you guys to look at some of the ancient coin weights, talk about some of the ancient coins, identify some stuff. So I'm just waiting to get back from Aaron Burke on that. So you guys give me information. Tell me the things that you want to see. Cat bust $50. I feel like they just don't get enough love. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to do that, I can pull some stuff up. We can definitely talk about that. Maybe, hey, JJ, what's up? The missing read. Missing read on the 2025 ASA. If you look at the images of the ASC, it looks like it's going to be to the right of the 2025. However, we don't know yet. Simply because the artistic rendering isn't always exactly what you see on the coin itself.
And isn't that the actual significant security feature on the coin now?
There's actually more.
Well, yeah, but they say that's the one you can see.
That's the visible one, so they'll tell you where it's located at a general time frame and what read, and it's 5 over from 3 o'clock, or it's 6 to the right of 6 o'clock, or whatever it is.
The Mint is coming out with a 2025 flowing hair.
No, ASC.
No, Builda said. I don't know. I didn't see anything. I've never heard anything. That's why I was like shocked when you put that up there.
I haven't heard anything about a flowing hair 2025.
No, I don't think so. I don't see nothing about it.
No, I don't see anything regarding 2025.
Me, unfortunately.
I don't think they do it because it was the anniversary of it.
No.
If you look up 2025, you'll see stuff on eBay. I just showed those. Oh yeah, well that's a fake coin. If you're looking at what I'm showing, that is complete and utterly fake. That's not even a trade dollar.
All right.
It's listed
not on their list.
Yeah.
I just looked at their whole list for the whole year.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect them to do that. So don't go by the picture, Bill. We're talking about counterfeit coins, and this is a Chinese seller. This is not the U.S. Mint, so don't fall for that one. But yeah, there's nothing on the U.S. Mint schedule for that. Hey, Coach, good morning. There are some cool things, but I got a couple different people coming on. But again, if you want to talk Cat Bust, I can put some stuff together for Cat Busts tomorrow. No problem. What are the pros and cons of collecting? Is collecting affecting your life for better or worse? Wow. That would have to be a panel discussion.
My life better.
Because it depends on who you talk to. I think collecting does a couple different things. It can be beneficial, but it can also be the bane of existence. Right. I know, being a YouTube channel, I had to pull back from supporting a lot of channels and being in a lot of streams and doing a lot of stuff, even though I enjoyed them because I needed family time.
Well, that, and it can be money. I mean, some people, it's addictive, just like drugs.
Yeah.
When you get that dopamine shot, and when you get something exciting, I mean, that's why I search coins. I love the thrill when I find something. But fortunately, it, I got a plethora of coins to look at. So it doesn't affect my bottom line.
Yeah, so the discussion about, and I think that'd be a really good panel discussion. So maybe I can coordinate that. Let me look at my schedule. By the way, April 12th, I will not be live. I'll be supporting a nonprofits events. I'm going to be running their audio video, so I will not be here on April 12th. Let's see here. We got I can do that next Sunday. If you guys are interested in it, I will do an open panel. If you guys are interested in coming up and talking on that panel, send me an email. And we can definitely talk about, you don't necessarily have to show any coins. There will be some rules to it. I'll lay those out very specific. I don't want any channel bashing. There will be no talk about channel specific information. It will be about personal issues and stuff that you do. But we definitely could talk about that kind of stuff. But I would lay some ground rules down that if violated, there'll be no warning. It'll just be a removal. But if you guys want to do that, reach out to me. Let me know you're interested in doing that. And I'll coordinate a panel for next Sunday. I think that would be a good discussion because we can talk about some of the good and the bad that happens within the hobby.
And there's plenty of both.
Say again?
I says, and there's plenty of both.
Yeah. There's lots of positives.
Plenty of good and plenty of bad, but
lots of positives that happen.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people. If you look at anything that you do, whether it be art, music, whether it be landscaping, whether it be collecting trinkets, whether it be bookkeeping or scrapping or what do they call that? Anything can get out of hand. Yeah, anything you do that can get out of hand. So there are aspects of the coin hobby that drive me nuts. But there are aspects of the coin hobby that I would love to learn more about. But I have to balance. And the biggest thing about anything is balance. And so, collecting can, but so can dating.
It can cause healthy psychological
impact. So can food, right? So it's really easy to look at addictive behavior is addictive behavior. It doesn't matter what the topic is. It doesn't have to be drugs or alcohol. It can be food. It can be the outdoors. It can be suntanning. It can be swimming. It can be whatever. Any activity is prone to addictive behavior. And so when you're looking at, well, it's specifically tied to coin collecting, we can take it from that venue, but people have to understand every purpose of everybody that does this is different. This is why when you collect, you have to ask them, what is it that you like? What is it that you enjoy? And, Pedro, right? Pedro, I can tell you two things he absolutely adores. Okay? Peace dollars and ancients. I know it. He absolutely loves those items. Okay? We've talked about it quite frequently. In particular, the 1921 peace dollars, but he likes peace dollars. So that detailed of a focus, can it become a problem? Well, if you don't have a healthy psychological balance of the rest of your life, maybe, right? When you look at some of these other elements, again, food can be an addiction, right? Alcohol, drugs, whatever it is. There are a lot of people in this hobby who come into this hobby to overcome things like ADHD, or not ADHD, PTSD, PTSD. There are people who come in here and have found a really good family when they had an addictive behavior, and they've gone to the extreme. I have a good friend in the stacking community. He went to the extreme, and it was very important that I let him know, hey, you know what? You're going a little bit too much. Back off a little bit. And he was putting himself into trouble. And yes, it can happen. But that's usually more tied to the person than it is the hobby.
Right.
So we definitely can talk about that, but we have to lay some ground rules because it's important that people understand the psychology of it as well.
I got a stacking question. You want to hold it till tomorrow, or?
We got a few minutes. I just have to be out of the house in 15 minutes to be at where my daughter is in time.
Is anybody buying or selling, or both? Let's just say silver or gold. Don't matter.
So I am not buying gold right now, but I am still buying silver.
Okay. Has anybody sold any? Yeah, I want to see if there's any paradoxes with like 2007, 2008 when the market kind of got flaky. I do know that most coin shops seem to have a glut of inventory right now, silver. And that's because a lot of people are selling. And I was wondering if the buy price is real close to spot, like the local coin shop here, the buy price is literally spot. But if you go in there to buy silver, but if you go in there to sell silver, he's like making his margin on that end. You know what I'm saying? He's instead of it being like only like 3 or 4%, he's charging almost 10% on the margin when you sell. So
Pedro, have a great day, brother. We'll chat with you later. I will text you later.
Yeah, I was just wondering if anybody else. I've talked to 3 different coin dealers. One didn't change his margins at all, but says he's got a glut of silver. The other did. The other 2 did, to where they're almost selling silver at just. I mean, it's just fractions over spot. $1 back of spot. That's actually not a bad deal, Roxzilla. That's good, because this guy was saying that he was charging like $2.75 back.
So I've been watching a couple videos, and the topic, I think we could talk about this tomorrow if people are interested. I'm going to reach out to a couple people. I know it's very early for them because 2 of them are on the East Coast, and I doubt that they're going to want to wake up at 5:30 to get here and have the discussion. But there's a couple people. One thing that I really have been watching very carefully is when I first started getting into the hobby and stacking, I was doing stuff that was collectible and looking at premiums and seeing what was going on. And now that the prices are higher, I'm still not able to recuperate some of the premium prices because they're not buying at the level.
See, Bill just said he went to his local coin shop yesterday. He told more people are selling than buying.
Yeah.
And that goes to what I was saying. Back in 2007, 2008, people were selling at spot and buying at like 10% under spot. So the shops were paying, say it was $30, they're paying $27.
Yeah, and again, I think so. If you can compare this to 2 times, and we can talk more about this tomorrow. I'd like to have a little bit more information because what I'm saying right now is based off of memory, and I don't have anything to back it up. I haven't done enough research to establish it as more factual. But one of the issues that I'm hearing, and one of the things that I see, is that we have 2 points in history that have happened, 7, 8, and then 21. Where we had this silver purchase and the silver squeeze
in the late 80s, I believe. Too,
right.
The Hunt
so,
Brothers. Yeah.
Well, the Hunt Brothers was totally that was on a level we had never seen before.
That's right.
So I don't really want to classify that. There were 3 other events that are very similar to where we're at now. If you look at the 2021 data, you look at the 2007 data, you look at the prices. We're about at what they call the ceiling. If you're in stock, you would look at that, you'd see that. I'm curious to see if there's going to be another quote unquote squeeze on silver. because as prices go up, and I think Seeker was the one who talked about this, if I'm not mistaken. I wasn't able to catch the whole thing, but I think Seeker was the one who mentioned this. So if that's the case, go back and watch Seeker's last video that he posted regarding this particular item, and challenge. And if I say anything wrong, please go back and get it from him. But he was saying be very leery, because when prices go up, what tendency happens with banking and infrastructure is they tend to buy and then short it and then sell it back because they want to gain money when it drops.
They're buying contracts. So, and unfortunately, our hobby silver is based on contracts.
Yeah. So what I would be more interested to see is, personally, I think we're going to see 35, and then we're going to drop back down into the low 30s, high 20s. I don't think we'll ever be back into the 18s. For a long time, I thought we were going to go back to 18, 19.
Pre-COVID was $13, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think we'll get back to that level until we get a lot of our economy squared away. We got to be a much better economy before we start to see really good prices in silver and gold.
There's a real heavy industrial pull on precious metals too now.
Yeah.
Where even in 2000, weather was. It's not like it is now, because everything has precious metals in it.
Yeah, so it's going to be interesting to say. I don't think we'll ever get down to those really low levels, but I do think we'll see a pullback. But the important thing, and I say this whether you're buying coins, I say this whether you're working with people at work or whether you're dealing with kids, it's a mantra that I use while working, and that is make sure that you act, don't react. So study, understand what's going on, ask questions, make smart decisions. Don't base yourself off of FOMO, and don't react to what other people are doing. Slow down. Take your time.
All right. Is Miss Coin Crew still here?
I think so. She posted a second ago.
If they have set a number where they actually quit buying. A lot of the bigger places in 2007, 2008, they had a number, and when silver hit it, they just quit buying.
Hey, Chad. Good morning.
And I was wondering if they had a number like that, because I understand, like that's what I did back in the 2000s with my margins. I started pulling everything on the what I was buying side, and then I was taking every opportunity to sell as close to spot as I could.
I like John Hanna's comment. My dust bunnies had a new litter.
There you go. Mine have litters every day. They're like really getting huge.
That's funny.
Dog hair too.
So what we'll do is we will break this out into 3 segments tomorrow. We're going to talk about gold and silver, purchasing, selling. Is it the time to buy? I'm going to see if I can get somebody to come on. I know 2 people. I know one person I would like to come on doesn't work Sundays, so they're not coming on at all. Ms. Gwen Cruz says we only buy less if we aren't selling fast enough.
Okay, that's what I'm saying, because most people, when it hits a certain price, people don't buy anymore. That's what happened in 2008, is it shot up, and then everybody wanted to sell, and there wasn't no cap if there's still buyers. All right, that makes sense. So you're going like everybody else is, basically. I
know there's some places where they can't get people to buy, so they've stopped buying it from people.
Right. And that has like I said, I know 4 or 5 people personally that lost the house in 2008 because they kept buying. They were like, "We got to keep buying." And it's like, dude, just get out of it. Stop buying. You don't want to lose your house and your car and everything else, and they did. And then the local coin shop here, he's really old. He had a ton of money though, because he's been doing this gig for like 65 years. And he said, he goes, I had almost $1 million in silver that I paid like $45-50 an ounce for. And he says, I still got it. He says, fortunately, I had the capital to start over again. He says, and when it gets close, I'm going to dump it all and try to get as much money back as I can. He might have sold it by now. But that was like when it was $13 an ounce. We were talking when I first moved down here. And he says, yeah, he says, I know a lot of people that got out of this deal at that time. It wasn't fun. I can tell you that. It wasn't a fun trade to be in.
Well, let's do that. So the 3 things we're going to be talking about tomorrow, if Just Stack It is still listening, we're going to be talking about the cap bust. That's definitely something that I'm going to do. Silver Slinky, thank you for being here.
Good.
Appreciate you.
That's good too, Miss.
We're also going to talk about one of the videos that I just did regarding the Dimes 1843, FS 301, 1844, and 1845. It's 3 years consecutive where they had the half dimes that had the RPDs. It was back to back to back. I've had a couple of questions from that particular short I'm going to answer tomorrow. And then we will talk about this silver and gold thing and what happens and get some people in there. So if you know stackers, tell them that tomorrow morning would be a good time to come in and have a conversation. Frostbyte, I better get what? I better get, you're right. Yeah, I better go.
You guys have a wonderful day. I'm out of here, Frosty. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right, we'll talk to you later. All right, folks. Well, hey, thank you so much for a really great stream. I enjoyed the conversation. I really want to make sure you guys are protected. My job as a YouTube person is to help inform you. I am not a buyer or seller. I don't buy your coins. I have no vested interest in stealing from you. My point is to help you, to give you correction, and link you to the people who will give you the best information so that you can utterly protect yourself. Because ultimately, that's what this is about. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate, love each one of you. For the super chat and for the gifted memberships, Chappie, I definitely appreciate you. Thank you so much. I don't ask for your support, but if you want to, it's always there for you to do. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a wonderful day. Be well, be blessed, and I will see you